没话题啊？干嘛停了 Hello everybody. Happy New Year. Thank you for joining us today. So here's our guest speaker. Very honored to have Dr. George Lam to be with us today. Welcome, Dr. Lam.
Thank you, Amy. My pleasure. Happy New Year.
Thank you for your time. And we see that we have a lot of members joining today. They're so excited to hear advice from you on Greater Bay Area. Let me have a very quick introduction. Dr. Lam has a very wide expertise and experience. He used to be a legal professional. He was in asset management. He's devoted a lot of time on public service, and he also devoted a lot of time on digital transformation in Hong Kong recently, and also nurturing future entrepreneurs in Hong Kong. Dr. Lam's experience spanned over the world, as a worldwide background, but with a focus in Asia Pacific and of course in Greater China. Dr. Lam, so today we have a very interesting topic. How can we benefit from growth of Greater Bay Area?
Thank you, Amy. I think, first of all, I'd like to thank Female Entrepreneurs Worldwide, FEW, for the kind invitation for me to interact with female entrepreneurs from around the world. And to all of you online who sacrificing your lunchtime and to be with me. I hope this session will be worthwhile. I think over the next hour or so, we will have interaction as well. But first of all, I'd like to just make a quick intro about what GBA is all about. The topic today is how can we benefit from the Greater Bay Area's growth, as Amy already suggested. So just a quick recap. Some of you have read extensively about GBA, but for those who feel that this is worth a quick intro, I'm going to give it to you now. The GBA is not a new thing, actually. In the history of mankind, we have seen great stories about Bay Areas. For example, the San Francisco Bay Area, wonderful foundation for the Silicon Valley. We also have seen, we also have seen the rise of the New York City Bay Area, and then the Tokyo Bay Area as well. The New York City Bay Area happened way back. It benefited from the Atlantic Channel, after the wars, and New York's rise as a international financial center. And then Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area benefited from, Stanford and all the university and venture capital capabilities, as well as regulations that welcome talents from around the world, and to ensure free movement of talents among firms and so on, to make sure that innovation and technology can be developed. And Tokyo Bay Area happened, and during the peak of Japanese manufacturing, advanced manufacturing, so they did well. But now the hottest story on earth is the Greater Bay Area.
Yes.
Now that's the focus today. Our focus today. Now, Greater Bay Area, geographically, we can think about 9 plus 2. 9 means nine of the best cities of Guangdong province, the best province of China in terms of economic performance and many other yardsticks. So these 9 cities, the list is long, but I can say to you that, today I'd like to invite you to visit each one of them, and 9 plus 2, and they are Guangzhou, the capital city of Guangdong province, Shenzhen, the new Silicon Valley of China, Hong Kong, the global city of the world, not just Asia. And then we have Dongguan, which used to be factory of the world. And we have Macau, the mega tourism and leisure hub. We have Zhuhai, a lot of goodies there, including aviation, pharmaceutical. We have Foshan, very, very strong manufacturing and logistics. Zhongshan, Dongguan, Hangzhou, Zhuhai, Jiangmen, and so on. So all these are wonderful cities, plus Hong Kong, Macau. So, but the potential is huge because the Greater Bay Area, or GBA as we call it, is now 72 million people. So it's a critical mass here, the best middle class that you can find around the world in the making. And then in terms of GDP, it's about 12% of China's GDP, but the population is only 5.2% of China. But right now, the whole GDP for Greater Bay Area is already 1.6 trillion US dollars, bigger than Australia's GDP, and growing much faster than Australia. So this, the only one, if we find one word to describe the Greater Bay Area, and that is growth and quality growth. That's what matters. Now, in the Greater Bay Area, we're talking about maximum breaking down of barriers to ensure free flow of money, talent, information, and goods and services. So this is truly very integrated. For example, the 9 cities in Guangdong province, they're absolutely excellent in advanced manufacturing and sophisticated logistics. You name it, they have it. If you want to make anything, then you have to go to Guangdong. Once you go to Guangdong, you'll find that that's the place because we have all the ingredients of success there. And in Hong Kong, we are very international, global. We have lots of ideas and talents and best practices from around the world. We are also the leading international financial center for Asia. I think money talks. We need the money, the risk capital, the smart money to really strengthen our new economy. We already are very strong in international trading and aviation. We are also the best asset management and risk management center for Asia. So about all of that, if I go further, the list is very long, but I'd like to point out one point, and that is the Greater Bay Area, GBA, for those who are used to the commuting in the US or Canada and elsewhere, we're talking about a 1 hour living zone, So within 1 hour, you can go from A to B, covering 70 million population. This is only possible because of superb infrastructure, and the best infrastructure on earth you can find. The best 5G network, and the best power supply. You name it, we have it. So GBA is no doubt, the breeding ground for the next unicorns and for, the best companies on earth. And I like to just add to a bit about comparison with other Bay Areas to show that GBA is really, it really has a huge potential. For example, GDP, we are catching up very fast with other Bay Areas on earth, but R&D, very fast. IP, intellectual property, we are now the creator. We are not just copying, we are creator. And number of unicorns, number of the amount of money we put in R&D, also leading the world. The number of engineering and science graduates leading the world. The number of women engineers and science graduates, rising so fast. And the GBA is fast becoming the biggest bilingual Bay Area on earth. Every young person in the Greater Bay Area is becoming or is already an English speaker. And Mandarin, Putonghua, Cantonese, they are given. They are just a given, you know. So before we know it, this is absolutely a global. GBA is not just China's GBA, it's GBA of the world. So I like to just say just now, just a few points about GBA, but the future, I like to add, in the old days, some of you who are from Hong Kong or other big cities in Asia, we know that in the old days, we always talk about Hong Kong, Shanghai, Hong Kong, Shanghai. And therefore, we got successful institutions such as Hong Kong, Shanghai Banking Corporation or HSBC, born out of that era. But today, the catchwords are Hong Kong, Shenzhen. Hong Kong, Shenzhen, I like to emphasize again, because Hong Kong, Shenzhen now is the #1 innovation and technology corridor on Earth. So this is a wonderful foundation. So between Hong Kong and Shenzhen, nothing is impossible. That's fascinating. If you haven't been there, please, you know, and Shenzhen is just next door to Hong Kong. Imagine in the old days, Silicon Valley, when it was starting, it was because of the strength of, you know, university, 34 state universities and 49 private universities and 5 national level kind of R&D organizations. That's how Silicon Valley started building up. But over here in Greater Bay Area, particularly the Hong Kong Shenzhen corridor, we got much more than that. You know, Hong Kong alone got 5 universities that rank in the top 100 globally, for example. So it's huge. We are talking about GBA as a result. We also have something which is much better than when Silicon Valley started, and that is the mega market that we have. As I mentioned earlier, this is the largest consumer market and growing, the largest middle class in the making. So talents. In Hong Kong, for example, the government already got policies such as tech talents entry program to welcome top-notch tech people from around the world and their families to come to Hong Kong, settle down in Hong Kong, and seize the opportunities offered by the Greater Bay Area, for example. So Greater Bay Area is also the super labs for all the innovative products and services. For example, fintech. How can you find on Earth something better than Greater Bay Area? Because in here, we have 3 currencies, the renminbi, the Hong Kong dollars, the Macau dollars. We have 3 different custom zones. We have 3 different legal systems. You know, Macau is more continental Portuguese kind of heritage. Hong Kong is British common law heritage. And then China, we have the continental system at the beginning, and now we go into a constitution-based system. So this is where entrepreneurs can flex their muscles to actually come up with something out of the box, innovate it, to cut across any barriers and borders issue to make sure that Greater Bay Area is a much more powerful and integrated market than any similar region that you can find. It should be much more connected than the EU, which is made of 30 or so countries. It should be much more integrated than the ASEAN region, which is made up of 10 different countries, in Southeast Asia. So Greater Bay Area is amazing, and this is also because of Hong Kong. We have the best protection for IP, intellectual property. We have the IP department, we have the custom department enforcing IP laws and regulations. So, for entrepreneurs, we are talking about IP creation, and this is the best place. And we also are the best international financial center. For example, in 2019, Hong Kong was the #1 IPO center in the world. We raised 40 billion US dollars. And the asset management business in Hong Kong, our asset under management is, tremendous. We're talking about, the latest, the historic number is 4 trillion US dollars. It's just tremendous. So I think back to Greater Bay Area, I'd like to add one more thing, and that is Hong Kong also has the soft elements that are needed to become the world's next Silicon Valley and much more. And if you have come across Hong Kong before, you know that we are very cosmopolitan, very inclusive, very open-minded. We are where East and West meet, and we should continue that way. And we should make English our working language on top of what we are very good at, that is Chinese. And we are already a multicultural, multilingual, global, smart citizens kind of, ecosystem. So we have a strong foundation. And if we continue to implement our policies of making Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area the most livable region on earth, continue to invest in our university, top caliber, and continue, to draw and retain the best talents and their families from around the world to Hong Kong. We have no challenges, no barriers on our way to becoming the global innovation and technology super hub. So I think the Hong Kong government is professional and clean government. We see tremendous policy momentum over the past 3 years or so. The government already put in more than 100 billion Hong Kong dollars into the innovation technology sector, and lots of policy to enable, facilitate entrepreneurship, tech entrepreneurship. So I think if we maintain our diversity, our inclusiveness, we will win. And at this juncture, I'd like to close my quick GBA intro by saying that it is a very, very relevant topic for women entrepreneurs. I have some, not the best credentials, but some credentials in terms of emphasizing the importance of women entrepreneurs. All my life, so far, I've been helped and run by women. My grandma, my mother, my wife, my daughter, and my capable secretaries, and also some of the very good bosses and partners, business associates. Women can play a strong role, and when it comes to inclusiveness and sustainability, empathy, family and social needs, these are like second nature for women. I think the Chinese always say recently that women hold up half of the sky. I think in my humble view, they hold up actually much more than half. They are indeed the indispensable stakeholders and champions for our new economy. And I'm very glad to see more women entrepreneurs, joining the rank. I like to close my GBA introduction by saying just 1 minute or two about Hong Kong Inc. and Cyberport. Cyberport is 100% owned by Hong Kong government. It is now a community of 1,600 tech companies and startups. We have people from all over the world. We have the best from Israel, the best from Europe, from America, from Japan, working alongside our local young talents, and also the best from mainland China. I like to say that over at Cyberport, an entrepreneur can be helped effectively because an entrepreneur should focus on building the company rather than wasting time on things that they cannot do well. For example, fundraising, PR, marketing, and opening door to new clients and so on. These things, if you can have an ecosystem to help you, by all means leverage from that, because you can then focus, 80-20 rule, focus on building the company. And at Cyberport, we can help you with fundraising, opening door, finding talents, and reaching out to the rest of the world. I think if you want me to sum up about Cyberport, I would say think entrepreneurship, think Cyberport, and so please contact us. We will help you. It's really what we need to do in our strategic transformation. I'm talking about Hong Kong's strategic transformation into an international innovation and technology hub, so that we can play a strong role, complementary role, value-adding role in building up the GBA together. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Dr. Lim. That's very inspiring. A very nice sum up of the opportunities and outlook of the Greater Bay Area and how it can synchronize with Hong Kong talents. We will start to enter into a question and answer session, and I would like to remind the members, if you are using your computer, you can please feel free to raise questions by pressing the raise hand button. It should be on the bottom of your screen, and then we will connect you with Dr. Lim. You can have a direct chat with Dr. Lim. So if you are on your computer, if you're on your mobile or iPad, there is a question icon on the right-hand side. So you can type your question and we will read it out for Dr. Lim for you. So please feel free to raise question, and then we will continue to have a chat with Dr. Lim first. Dr. Lim, you mentioned about Shenzhen. It's so close to Hong Kong. Hopefully the border will open soon and we can really go to Shenzhen very soon. Shenzhen, it's so close, and what is the positioning? What is so great about Shenzhen, and how can we actually? I think if for a lot of like enterprises, entrepreneurial, how can we actually step out from Hong Kong? I think Shenzhen will actually be the best place because it's so close. But how can we actually do it, and what's the positioning of Shenzhen that we can benefit from?
Wow, I'm excited. When you raised the term Shenzhen, I was already excited, because for those from around the world who have not been to Shenzhen, I mean, the idea is this: if you get on the high-speed train and the West Kowloon District station in Hong Kong, after 14 minutes, 14 minutes, you will arrive at Futian District Station in Shenzhen. So the distance, the physical distance between Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area is just 14 minutes by high-speed rail. Imagine that. So it is really, together in the ecosystem. But Shenzhen, what makes it different? In Shenzhen, when you meet people don't ask you, where are you from? People just talk about, what can we do together? How can we solve some problems, pain points in the economy, in society? Can we get out to Central Asia, for example, Astana or Singapore, to Eastern Europe or Latin America, and export our innovative solutions or products, how to work with the best from the world. So that can-do spirit, enables Shenzhen to attract people from around the world, not just from around China. In Shenzhen, you can bump into people from all sorts of places, from the Arab world, from Israel, from Eastern Europe, European countries, and from Japan and Australia, you name it, Canada, we have it. So Shenzhen, marvelous, and it's only 40 years in history. 40 years ago, it was a tiny little, even I would say very rudimentary kind of environment, a village. But now, after 40 years, it's the Silicon Valley of China, from China for the world. It's tremendous. And I mentioned earlier that the catchwords today are Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Hong Kong, Shenzhen. So every time we do something, we think about that. This is the new excellent tale of two cities in the new economy, in the post-COVID-19 new normal. So, well, Shenzhen, I think, wow, let's work with Shenzhen.
Yeah, let's hope the border will open soon and we can start working on it anytime. So here's the first question from a member. It's about cross-border. It remains quite challenging for people because of the visa requirement and the goods and services because of the tax and tax clearance and those kind of things. So it remains quite challenging for some people, for the transfer of goods and services and for the people to commute. Like us, I think we're okay because we have we're hunting, we have the right ID to go. So do you foresee any like opening up of the rooms for people to travel and for goods and services to travel more easily?
Well, excellent question. And my humble answer, immediate answer is yes, because GBA is about openness, it's about inclusiveness, it's about global in approach and everything. It's about being civilized, livable, sustainable, green and blue. You name it, we need it. It's therefore we need to eliminate all the barriers. I can imagine in the future we may have something like a GBA card, for people to just travel and transact freely in this super hub for the world. We already have something before COVID-19 in this region. It was called the APEC card. So what's the problem of not having a similar or better set of capabilities to enable talents and businesses to do business, to work together, to study, to retire, to get certain medical services, to invest, to run businesses cross-border. So I'm very hopeful and very excited by the prospect. I think now with digital technology, we can make cross-border travels and so on much more seamless and easy and cost-effective. So going forward, I think the borders should become insignificant, and particularly in the new economy, that should not be an issue. But the devil is in the detail. We need government agencies and so on to get their act together, and for the benefit of economic and social development. Yeah.
Thank you. Another member has raised an interesting question. Alex Huang, he has a business from North America. How can he expand all the way from North America? It's very interesting that somebody all the way from North America is interested in expanding in GBA. That's very exciting.
Great. Wow. I think this is outstanding question, because now the whole world, we're talking about innovation and technology, but truly, it's about this G2 kind of phenomenon. Is really the US and China, leading the way. And so the US is absolutely a key stakeholder in this whole, win-win journey. Take, for example, Cyberport. Out of the 1,600, tech companies and startups, American companies are number one in terms of those from coming from outside of Hong Kong. So a tremendous stakeholder group already, and many talents can be found, and so I think going forward, I can foresee American talents, American companies will continue to be a key player, a key contributor in the development of Greater Bay Area. And to help you get from A to B, I think you can make use of Hong Kong, make use of Cyberport as a launching pad, as a soft landing pad. For example, what you can do is after this, please contact us. We will help you with the steps, and it's very simple. In Hong Kong, all you need, set up a subsidiary or a sister company in Hong Kong. It can be done in 1 or 2 days, very cheap. And then immediately get yourself into the Cyberport ecosystem, and we will help you navigate from there. In terms of partnering with the right people, getting help from the right people, getting your first customers, finding your first investors, and checking on regulations and licensing agreement, requirements and so on. Leverage from our ecosystem and make use of Hong Kong. Because Hong Kong is the international gateway for GBA.
So I suppose it might be a good option for international companies before they tap into GBA. Hong Kong will be a good gateway to start, right? If they have a branch or subsidiary in Hong Kong, for example, Cyberport will be a very helpful step to them.
Yes, it's more than just being a helpful host. I think if you come to Hong Kong and work with Cyberport, you can also tap into our tremendous pool of smart money and risk capital. The startups are like babies. They need to drink milk, constantly. We have a lot of that. Now Hong Kong is the leading, hub for venture capital and private equity investment in Asia. So, there's no reason why we cannot provide money to teams that have a bankable proposition, and something out of the box but useful. And going forward, I can foresee a fundamental change in the capital market in Hong Kong, which is already world class. I will see the top 1,000 or at least top 500 in global tech to be in Hong Kong. Yeah, this is where we can get into the Greater Bay Area market, and we can also raise a lot of capital.
It's very promising, very promising. Speaking about China, so after we have established maybe a branch in Hong Kong, starting to do business in Greater Bay Area, Chinese culture is very different. We all know that the consumer habit is different. Social media, especially, we all know that because of TikTok and a lot of social media, they're very, very advanced. They're moving very fast. And also regulatory requirements in China are very different from Hong Kong and the West. So what advice would you give to the entrepreneur before they enter into the Chinese market? What kind of expectation, precautions they should take?
Great question. I'd like to just share with you something right now in China. China has been recovering very well from this COVID-19 pandemic, and you can see a tremendous shift in terms of importance attached to quantity to quality. Now, the whole of China is talking about quality growth. and not a blind pursuit of high GDP growth rate. So it's all about quality. So in order to do good business with the China market or GBA market, quality is job one. And also the whole of China is doing very well in terms of digital transformation. So if you want to be successful, you have to make the best use of digital technology, including, the new innovative, effective models of KOL, cross-border e-commerce, but it's all about brands, about, building trust, based on quality. So I think that's hard work. Nothing can be done without real substance and quality and value add. So my only suggestion is go for something that can help people and companies improve their life. And this is job number one. Yeah.
Thank you. I understand that you grew up in Hong Kong, you have studied abroad, and you have also taught in Tsinghua University. Tsinghua University is the #1 university in China, and it's in Beijing. What were your challenges while living and working in China as a foreigner? I think because a lot of members would want to know, other than the business challenges, personal life-wise, what should they expect? Is it a lot more like foreigner, like better for foreigners to stay and live there and work there?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think based on my experience, this is an important question at this juncture. I think 2020 was the so-called the pivotal year where you can see a new China now. Yeah, the new China is emerging, and but the long history, the rock solid culture, there remains a beautiful constant. For example, doing business, not just as a transaction, but also as a win-win relationship and so on. These old virtues still remain, but the new things, because China today is not the old China anymore. We see a population, younger population, that become more confident, more positive about the future, more interested in working globally. And so I think my suggestion for any entrepreneurs trying to work and live in China, my own experience would be, first, empathy. We should have maximum empathy for respecting what the country is, and because everything is the result of years of history and accumulation of wisdom and experience. So the empathy that we bring to the table will enable us to understand and build trust and friendship. And another thing I can say is, if you build your companies in China, then make a good effort to develop local talents. Don't just bring in everybody, but bring in enough and to develop local talents, and always think about how to serve the local markets well as well. Because if you have that strong base, then when you bring your products to the world, you are doing it from a position of strength. You have a rock solid base camp, and you can fly. And so I think is really what I like to say. The future of China actually lies in private enterprises and startups, entrepreneurs. For these people, the sky is the limit. particularly women entrepreneurs in China should be among the best from around the world. And I love to see more, making good use of Cyberport. And I like to close by saying, actually, a better China should be good for the world. So I really hope that through our women entrepreneurs, we can really enable and facilitate and promote sustainable development in China, contributing to this, among other things, this noble goal of becoming carbon neutral by the year 2060. And if China can do that, definitely the world can be relieved. And I'm confident that China can do that, particularly with women entrepreneurs pushing for more innovative solutions.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you everybody for joining and staying with us. And of course, we have to thank Dr. Lam again for your time and also for sharing with us your insight.
Thank you very much, and Happy New Year. 新年快乐.
Thank you. Thank you. Happy New Year.